as we turn now to the Yizkor service and to dedicating our plaques on our Yizkor boards, we have two speakers who will be sharing some reflections. First, we invite up Buzz Hausner, who serves many roles in our shul, including the sticker guy, which has been changed from candy to stickers due to allergies. In his free time, he also serves as our bartender at Saloon Amuna, which you'll be able to find in the back left corner of the Rabbinic Social Hall during lunch. He and his wife and two children joined the shul in 1994, had their smachot, their b'nai mitzvah, which I had the pleasure of officiating at, as well as a wedding. And Buzz is the one who is running many of our minyanim. And as I like to say, Buzz is buzzing you all in. Please, bevakasha.
As long as I have the floor, matter of personal privilege, Leon, as soon as Shabbat's over, you should get to fill us a nice bottle of champagne. So do that. For 11 months, I said Kaddish for Mike Rosenberg, twice a day, virtually every day. Mike was my friend. I can think of no one, I can't think of anyone who deserved that honor more and needed it less. I have no idea what happens to our souls when we no longer need them here, but I am certain that wherever it is, Mike's soul resides at the highest level. You got it? Thank you. Nonetheless, I felt compelled to say Kaddish for my friend for 11 months. Most of you will be aware that I try to attend daily minyan in the morning and the evening every day. I realize this might seem a bit extreme, but to those of you who say get a life, I say I did, and this is it. And to my wife, who often wonders how much time I spend at the temple, I say consider all the women you know whose husbands are having affairs. But I digress. I'm not sure why, but I drove and continue to draw great sustenance from being able to say Kaddish. And to do so every day was an honor above all. It was a way also for me to stay close to him when he was gone. My children are grown and fledged, and my wife's occupation keeps her away from home at least one night a week. I haven't seen her for 3 days. However, one constant in my life was that I would spend a half hour or so with Mike almost every morning throughout the year. Every day, I could count on seeing Mike in one of his endless stock of Bedford sports, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and jackets, walking into the temple. By the way, about a year and a half ago, Mike wore his Patriots warm-up jacket to minyan, and it disappeared. If anybody knows what happened to it, please let me know, no questions. But every day I count on seeing him. A few minutes together were always meaningful, fun, frequently hilarious, as he freely shared his understanding of the most obscure corners of our faith and the encyclopedic knowledge of humor and stand-up comedy. While I did not share Mike's devotion to the Pats and the Celts, there was always baseball, endless discussion of baseball minutiae. Mike and I frequently worked together as Shabbat Gabayim. Mike made the floor Gabay's jobs so much easier due to a mutant gene he had for remembering Hebrew names. At the beginning of the Torah service, I could tell him all the honorees, and he would proceed to call them up by their Hebrew name from memory. It was remembered. But on more than one occasion, I made a truly stupid Gabay mistake. If you come on Tuesday nights, that's the signifier. That's the significant part of my minyan. I always make some stupid mistake. But Mike would always steer me back in the right direction gently and never make me feel bad about what I had done. I'm left to marvel at Mike's mastery of Jewish ritual and generosity in sharing it. Maybe you remember if suddenly you didn't have somebody to do Geshem or Tal, you could always just toss Mike a kittle and he was ready to go. He could do anything. Anyone who sent a child to study with Mike could see how great he was with young people. especially with our awkward adolescence, as a tutor, a mentor, and a friend. He expected much from his students, but he gave them so much more. Mike tutored both of my children for their bar and bat mitzvah. He had a deep effect on both Harry and Sophia. Through his gentle but persistent efforts, he taught them that while Judaism can be hard work, it is also fun. When I would fetch them after their session with Mike, either of them would always have a new joke that he just taught them, or some obscure fact about Judaism to discuss on the ride home. Mike knew that my son loved odd situations and puzzles. Not only did Mike teach Harry to chant a lock, we spent many hours discussing if one should listen to a talking donkey and what one should do about a soothsayer who lost the sooth. One day, Harry presented me with a question that Mike had passed on to him. Why on this day do we chant Shirat Hayam twice when on all other days we don't chant it even once? Good question. I wish Mike were here to answer that. For her 12th birthday, I gave my daughter a baseball signed by Pumpsy Green, the first African-American player for the Red Sox, which she proudly brought in to show to Mike. I can't imagine that anyone other than Mike could have made the connection between baseball and Judaism by telling Sophia that Pumpsy Green's given name was Elijah. Who knows this stuff? And Mike did. He had an ability to weave Yiddishkeit in baseball that still animates Fia's love of the game and her faith. Mike meant so much to my daughter that 18 years after her bat mitzvah, Mike was the only teacher Fia invited to her wedding, and we were so honored to have Mike and Dawn join us for this event. No reflection on Mike is complete without mentioning his bottomless capacity for kindness and generosity. Every Wednesday morning, he would pick up a visually impaired Emunah member and drive him to Minyan for breakfast with the rabbis. He would visit the homeless-bound, elderly temple members to pray with them and to discuss the state of the world and the baseball season. I won't mention that. For 11 months, I said Kaddish for one of the most remarkable men I've been privileged to call my friend. And he really were. I will leave you with a couple of anecdotes that I think say a lot about the man he was. First one, I was in shopping at, and forgive me if you've heard these before, because I have to. I was shopping at Israel Books, and the woman behind the counter was on the phone and said, "Oh, this book just arrived for Mike Rosenberg." And I told her, if you give it to me, I daven with Mike every morning. I'll pass it on to him. He said, "You know Mike Rosenberg? 10% off." However, when I mentioned this to Mike, he said, "If you told her you know anybody else, it would have been 20%. And the last story I'd like to leave you with. Thanks to my dear friend Joel Marcus, I had some remarkable tickets to Fenway, like 10 rows back from home plate, offset a little bit so you can see the picture. And I had tickets for Father's Day and I couldn't use them. And I called Mike, said, "Mike, you want to go to Fenway on this Sunday?" He said, "Yeah, but let me get back to you tomorrow." Mike had a student at MIMO who was a fatherless boy, raised by his mother. And he'd always come by and spend time just talking about baseball with Mike. And Mike used those tickets to take a fatherless boy to his first game at Fenway. And that is just the kind of guy he was. And why did I say Kaddish for Mike for 11 months? Because I love Mike and I miss him.